laundering. So all this training I've been receiving, I just felt I just can't let it to waste I can't let it go to waste when I have an outlet where I could tell others, okay, this is what I've been learning, this is what is in town, this is what people are facing, and this is how you can protect yourself. As recently as July, I was still invited to Giaba's anti-money laundering advocacy training for CSOs. Giaba is an organ of ECOWAS. So when you interpret it from French, you know how they have this French-English mixture. When you interpret it from French, you find that Giaba actually interprets to financial crimes prevention unit and monitoring all of that. So we got some training on what is happening in different ECOWAS country, how the forms of money laundering is changing, and how ECOWAS through GIABA is trying its best to make sure that they work with police in every country, Interpol, and every other person they can work with to make sure that these things are curtailed, if not killed outright. So that's my latest training. And so when Adenike asked if I'm ready to take, any subjects for Startup Corner, I said yes. There's something I can actually do for Startup Corner that is relevant for us as individuals running businesses. And not only does it protect our businesses, it protects it protects us as individuals too, because once our corner is secure, then we have more peace of mind. So that's how come I am doing this presentation. So welcome once again.
So we resume the recording. Please continue, madam.
So I am Adebukola Basi. I'm a book editor. I run BMS Editors. I also work part-time with Pan-African University Press. And yeah, basically that's it. Next slide. I've already said other things. My training with Ella. Ella is based in Philippines or something. And then my training with Giaba, I've mentioned all of that. So here we are. Next slide, please.
Slide is here, ma.
Okay. So what is money laundering? Money laundering is a whole process, is a chain of activities, and is engaged in by people who have committed a previous crime and now need to cover their tracks. They need to cover their tracks, and they need to ensure that the money they gained from their initial crime can no longer be attached to that crime or be recognized as the proceed of crime. So they want to take it from dirty to clean. They want to be seen as ordinary business people like you and I. They want to hide the source of their income because, yes, there's always a predicate crime that makes money laundering necessary.
So madam, you just tell me next slide, please, ma, so we know.
I think I'm going to take over the presentation. So, next slide. So I said, think of money laundering like washing a dirty clothes. Let's say there's a kitchen rag I've been using for 3 days, 5 days. You know how it's going to look like. Everyone has been stepping on it. There's water, everybody uses it, and it's raining now. We know how muddy the streets can be, and then everybody is using this rag. Then one day I take that rag and just throw it in the washing machine and just run it through. You understand? By the time it comes out, wow, okay, things are looking spanking. And so the owner of the rag is the criminal. You understand? The rag is the proceed of that predicate crime. Some innocent business people have been used as washing machines without them knowing. And some, they know, they do not mind because they are after what they will get from it. Some people do not mind actually. So what we are here to talk about is for you to know what you're doing. If you are going to become that washing machine, then at least make sure you know that you are being used as a washing machine and you choose to go along with it, even though it's a crime. You understand? It's worse when you didn't even know, you were not aware. And so we find that while some people are not aware, there are people that are actually aware of what is happening, or should I say what happened in that process. We were told the story of a car seller in Abuja. This man just knows that someone came to his car store. The person priced, like, looked at 2, 3, or 4 cars, and the person decided on one. The only curious thing that happened was when it was time to pay, this person went to the car they came in and brought out a bag of money and said he's paying cash. Even though this thing is as far back as, I think, 2003 or so, under Jonathan, I think. So it's been a while. But even back then, we know that the amount of cash you'd have to move around with to be able to buy a car is not funny. Like, ordinarily, you should be more worried about thieves realizing that you have that much cash on you. Okay, but this business owner just felt, you know how it is. Every day is business, and if the person is here to buy, I'm here to sell. So they did the transaction and they went away. Some days later, this willful blindness that the business owner did, the car seller, the willful blindness to the weirdness of it cost him a lot, because this same car was driven into the UN building in Abuja and was used, and the car carried the bomb that was used to bomb that place. So when the investigators were doing that, you know, we would all be on social media talking about these things, making so much noise, but investigators will never come to public to talk. They just do their work silently. So they were able to go into the engine of the car. You know how an engine block is, it's not everything that will blow up because it's metal. So they were able to trace, look for chassis number, look for this, look for that, and all this information is logged in with our agency that handles importation of cars. You know, when you bring the cars in, all those information will have to be taken, and so it's on record. At the very least, they will just go to the Nigerian Ports Authority and ask them to check. So they were able to trace it. Oh, this is the importer, this is his address. They went there and got him arrested, and that's how, you know, he got into big trouble, because it was an international thing. So many non-Nigerians were injured. We were told the story of a woman who was running her master's in the UK, a Caucasian. She was running her master's in the UK, and a particular topic, she decided, oh, she's going to come to Nigeria to do field work, and from Nigeria she'll go to Kenya to do her field work, and from Kenya, I think, one other African country, and then from there, go back to school and compile her field notes and submit her projects. This lady was in the UN building the day after she arrived Abuja, and that is the day that place was bombed. So many sorry tales and all of that. So that is the problem with money laundering. Criminals will not stop doing their criminal activities, but we do not have to be part of it. So there are 3 stages of money laundering. There's placement, there's layering, there's integration. After the initial crime, that I said is the predicate crime, has been committed, these criminals will bring their dirty money into the financial system. Imagine me calling any of you up tomorrow or in a week's time and telling you, oh, I'm trying to pay for something, could you please help me with 3 million naira? And you're like, you should be like, Buki, what business are you doing that you're throwing 3 million naira about? You understand? It's usually large amounts. So what they do is to break it down into smaller sums, and bit by bit, be depositing them into banks, be depositing them, and banks, they have to have a whole financial unit dedicated to these things. So when they see that a particularly dormant account before, or an account that used to have like invisible amounts before, suddenly this account starts getting, okay, like if you're running a dollar account, if you send in $10,000, then they have to log it and report it to a particular arm of the central bank to be sure that your business, your official business, actually has the capacity to generate that sum or more than that. So what criminals usually do when they are placing is they may start sending $9,000 today, 9,500 tomorrow, 8,500 next tomorrow, 9,700 the next day. Just below the radar. They fly just below the radar. But because the money is so huge, you understand, they have to keep doing it. They have to keep doing it. They have to keep doing it. That's how they gradually place the money in the system. And then layering. Layering is when the money is moved around. They buy, they sell, they buy, they sell. When online vendors are sharing their experiences with customers, have you read any of those experiences where the vendor says, this person paid into my account, then said they changed their mind and I should send the money back? But by the time the person sends the account for the money to be refunded into, the person will be sent another account totally. For instance, if I am trying to buy from a business, let me say a cake seller, and then we discuss and I say, oh, I want a wedding cake for so date, and so I choose design, I get my bill and I pay. And when I pay, the following day or 2 days later, I go back to the cake seller and say, I am really sorry. My mother-in-law says she's making the cake for me and, I can't be rude to her. Please refund my money. So this person notices that when I was paying, I paid from First Bank or GT Bank. But when I am going to send her the accounts to get the refund, it will be a totally different bank or a totally different account number. And so it will be funny, but if I raise, I'll say, oh, please, I'm so sorry to disturb you. You know what? Just take 20,000 naira out of the money for the stress, because I'm the one that cancelled that I'm making you do that. And imagine doing that across like 10 vendors in one day, in just one day. Some will say they want to buy property, they move the money, and then they tell the real estate person they're working with that, you know what? My wife said she doesn't want to stay in Nigeria. My wife doesn't want us to buy any property in Nigeria. Please send the money back. By the time the money is going back, it's going into another account. Now, this money is losing its trail of origin, little by little, little by little. Now, I am not sure how many of us heard about this lawsuit between this late general, let me not call his name, a late general and and
Jerry boy.
And a lawyer about a particular house that belongs to an individual who was named, but was first male and then became female. And then at the end of the day, it was established the individual never existed. And different people keep coming up saying this non-existent individual has actually willed to them.
Someone needs to mute. I'll mute her. Sorry, I'm sorry.
That this individual who doesn't exist has willed the home to them, and it's such a debacle, and it's hard to find a lawyer in the middle of all of that, because lawyers are trained to smell this thing from like 3 bus stops away. Just the same way policemen and our EFCC agents would have easily seen these things. A lawyer should easily see that, except the lawyer is a willing washing machine in the layering process. Now, if not, I'm still going to use the example of that house. If not that general died when he died, if he were still alive by now, I have a big feeling that he would have been able to do proper transfer of ownership to his name. He would have the boldness, and that means it would have been properly integrated into the economy. So let me use another example. Let's say now that for some reason, I was able to get someone to give me $100,000 that I did not work for, no service rendered, no product exchanged, but I got $100,000 from the person. Maybe I promised the person I'll marry them or something. And so the person gives the money, I run away, I block them everywhere, and then I start to find ways to make sure that money, becomes legal. So all this layering process, buy land today, go to nightclubs. I go to nightclubs and offer to pay all my friends' bills. Everybody, I'm paying for them and all of that. And afterwards, when I'm done, I go back to, so when I'm paying, let's say by the time we're done buying everything we bought, I get the bill 1,500,000. That's our bill for the night. But when I'm paying, I deliberately pay 10,500,000. I go home. Some hours later, when I wake up from my phantom sleep, I rush there and start screaming down the place. Why didn't you tell me I overpaid? Why didn't you? So they have no choice but to check and to confirm and to transfer my money back to me. You understand? Little by little, that money starts losing the sense of its origins. If I'm the business kind, I just, call one person, call two people. I want to start this business. Can we do it like this? Can we do it like that? If I have the leeway of just 1 year, that money will be properly legitimate, mixed into the economy. In another 5 years, no one will even remember that I just suddenly happened to become rich. No one will remember. So that's the 3 stages of money laundering. By the time it's integrated, if it's very well done, no one will remember. Next slide, please. So why should you care about money laundering? You should really, really care, because we see the effect of crime in our society. We see the effect of crime in our society. We see how it is so hard for people to do genuine work without getting 419 without getting one criminal or the other in their business, we see petty stealing, we see all those things. And the more crime in the society, the worse a business performs, the worse it performs. And why should I content to do legal business? Like, I'd rather sell a dozen, like 12 cartons of, let's say, children's biscuits now, and gain 100 naira per carton, than for me to be looking for huge gain from the proceeds of crime. And yet a criminal comes and uses my business setup to make their own proceeds of crime, you know, to make it into money that's good. And then this person starts feeling as if they are better than those who are doing legit business. Another reason we should care is that the law does not accept ignorance. It's not an excuse under the law. So jail time awaits those who get implicated in money laundering. The next reason I think this should really, really touch everybody is, what if I'm the next person to be the victim of a crime, of a financial crime? What if you are the next person? What if I'm the next person? What if it's my aged parents, who someone calls up and starts trying to get them to review their card pins, their bank details, and all of that? So it's very important we all put our efforts together to get rid our society of money laundering crime. Next slide. So, warning signs of money laundering. There is a way we can unknowingly become a part of money laundering scheme if we are not careful. So let's just look at the warning signs. A warning sign is when a client is offering to pay unusually large amounts upfront or through strange methods. Like the example of the person that we said earlier, who sold a car. So that example is part of it. Give me one moment. I think I want to present from here. Can you pause the recording, please? Please,
Okay, I
can you
can
all
see it now. I can see it now.
Okay, great. So,
All right.
your
So,
question, please.
so can I ask my question, ma?
Yes, please.
Okay, so my question is, so you use the example of the cake vendor, for example, that Adenike paid with her first bank account. And then for some reason, she needs her to refund it. And I give her, for example, my GT bank account. Is that a red flag? So it's the same name, but it's just that it's different banks.
Well, it will depend really. It will depend really, because there are other factors to check for people who offer to pay. Some people even offer to pay more than your billing. Some are the first to offer for you to take a chunk of the money as long as you are refunding. They will be the first to offer. If you are not, if maybe you are just grumbling or you don't say anything, they say, oh, just take 20% off and send the rest to those amount. So it's safer to just record the transaction as suspicious than to let it go like that.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Yes. Please proceed.
So we'll talk about the warning signs now. The warning signs of money laundering scheme is a client offering to pay unusually large amounts upfront or through strange methods like paying cash for humongous transactions, like offering to pay more than you're asking for. If I say a product is worth 9,000 naira and you say, wow, I'm willing to pay 15,000 naira for that, and then the person has a request to make or something, there's always something weird about the transaction. Yes, Modupe, please ask. Your microphone. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for this. Mind my voice, ma. So I just want to ask, is there like a certain amount that one should look out for in such transactions? For us, we do logistics, and some of the examples that you've talked about, we've experienced it before where customers will overpay and then ask for refund. And then we also had sometimes customers will say, oh, because you provided an exceptional service, I want to gift you. So I don't know if we have like recent one where although it's like about 20,000 naira, she gifted the customer support rep who actually
Okay.
took permission from me before. So I told her she can send her personal account, not the company's account. She can pay
Better.
the her bill for the service provided to the company's account. Then the gift can be sent to their personal account and then they can share from it. So I want to know like could it be any amount or it has to be heavy amount that is involved in such.
I think with Nigeria, because of the difference in dollar, pounds, and then the Nigerian naira, it's all usually heavy amounts. It's usually heavy amounts. If
Okay,
not
ma'am.
heavy
Thank you, ma'am.
amounts, then you have the client saying, "Oh, put me on how would I put it, a rolling service. You know, how much is it going to cost you for you to send a cake or soup or rice to me every day for the next 30 days?" Only that at the end of the day, this person doesn't really seem particularly interested in eating. You understand? This person is more likely interested in, okay, send it to my friend. Oh, my girlfriend needs it. A friend of mine has been in that situation before. This guy sends her meals every single day. For someone who is not particularly available to receive calls or to pick calls, you know, when it's time to call, you say, "Oh, I'm busy, I'm still at work, this and that. Have they sent you your food? Have you gotten your lunch? Have you gotten your dinner? Just take it home if you're too tired to eat in the office, this and that," and he's off again. So she started getting particularly worried when he switched from that innocent is just because I love you gesture of buying her food daily. He switched, and he always insisted on buying from a particular vendor. He switched to, "Oh, babe, please help me send so amount to so person. We'll reconcile at the end of the week." And so they would have like 4 5 transactions in 6 digits every day, you know, more than sometimes more than once a day, so that at the end of the week he's going to be balancing her like over 1 million. So she started getting suspicious. She worked in a bank, so of course the frequent training, you know, made her get suspicious. And so she called me one day and she explained everything, and that's why she's going to step away from the relationship and all of that. The amounts are, most of the time, the amounts are always funny. So the second thing is when you get requests to accept payments from unknown accounts or from foreign accounts, this is another red flag. I am the one asking you to provide a service or to sell me something, but oh, my boyfriend will pay, or my uncle will pay, or you know, very innocent things that have been twisted, and before you know it. So the third one is customers who insist on cash payments with no clear business reason for why they have such amount of cash on them. I'm sure we all this cash have been mentioning has reminded you of all the funny stories we used to hear shortly after Buhari became president. Oh, there's one mansion in VI where the AC is always on, even though no human lives there, because there are bags upon bags of cash just inside the house. And the person does not want ants to get to the cash. They don't want the money to start getting moldy after a while. So they have to put on the AC, and you know, all of that. We've heard of cash inside water reservoirs, inside all sorts of places. So you get these things, to move it out of the system, to move it out of government coffers, they can't just use their account number. We all have BVN now, we all have NIN, and all these things bring visibility for individual transaction. For example, right now in Nigeria, if you have 200 bank accounts, the government is aware. If your family members are using, let's say for instance, your first name as a man, my children use my husband's first name as their surname, the government knows, it doesn't matter. So if you like give your children your middle name and then start using their names and their identities for, you know, criminal purposes, it's only a matter of time before someone will put 2 plus 2 together and see that it makes 4. So that's why you see that that issue of cash payments, huge cash payments, is always a funny thing. So for instance, there's an example that Modupe gave. If the customer had said they are paying in cash, let's say the cost of the service is 100,000, then the person says, oh, for your, I know I've stressed you, so for your stress, I'm going to give you extra 50,000. The person is just trying to use gifts to take your attention away from what is actually happening. You know how it is with gifts. So another warning sign is when you're asked to transfer money to others or third parties without a clear explanation. I've used the experience of my friend to say this. Oh no, this the, you know, she used to ask, what's this money for? Why are you sending all these people money? And the person will say, oh, she asked me, she requested, she told me she's going through so much stress. And so my friend will ask her boyfriend, are you not going through so much stress to make your own money? Why are you so eager to, you know, help these other people? But at the end of the day, it was easier for us to just exit the relationship than to insist on knowing what was going wrong. So other warning signs, yes, like I said, unusually large payments, requests for refunds or deliberate overpayments that are made to seem like accidents, payment from unknown or foreign accounts into your own accounts, then reluctance to share information about what is happening. So depending on the industry, depending on what we are looking at, there are different things to watch out for. That's why I made sure to write all these detailed ones. So for instance, warning signs for retail and sales businesses include unexplained cash payments, multiple small cash deposits. This small cash deposits is, like I said earlier, is to make sure that they escape bank notice. So we all know there's a limit on our daily cash transaction. Once you get to that limit or above that limit, banks must report without letting you know. And so that triggers, there's something they trigger in their own system that triggers the CBN, and then, you know, depending on the name and other things, or exposure, then you know. Then another warning sign for retailers is use of third parties, then reluctance to share information. Reluctance to share information on the transaction they want to undertake with you, and reluctance to share information about why they are sending. Someone wants to do a transaction of, let's say, 500,000 with you, and the person is sending it 100,000 unexplainably. So for real estate businesses, people who suddenly want to sell their land or house at an unusual price. So customer A contacts me and says, oh, real estate CC, I'd like to sell my house. And you say, okay, no problem. You schedule, you know, a meeting, you look at the whole place, and of course you have to ask how much. This person says, let's say 400 million naira. And you're like, well, it's a good property, but you know that this location, this is the usual going rate. But the person insists that, don't worry, I'm ready to wait. I will wait until I get my own customer. And then all of a sudden, within a week or two, someone shows up and insists, I want this particular property at any price. And the person sincerely pays. Of course, you're only after your own commission. But both of them knew each other. It was planned and they know exactly what they are doing. In fact, there are many times that either the seller will insist on paying to you directly until the papers are fully signed, or the seller will say, unless you pay to the lawyer first, I'm not going to sign anything. It sounds innocent. It sounds like someone just protecting their turf. But sincerely, people use these things to cover up what they are actually doing. So a property that should go for, let's say, 250, 300 million, someone now sells it for 400 million easily, with no foreseeable advantage for the buyer. Then you know that something is happening. If we remember, before Yahoo Yahoo was called Yahoo Yahoo, what used to happen, how people used to lose their money to all these businessmen, apart from the famous Nigerian prince scam, is that person A will contact you. Let's say you are a nail seller. The person will ask for a very, very scarce kind of nails, or one that does not really move in the market. Then the person will tell you they really, really want it. They will buy it at any price. Please look for it. If you are too slow to catch up, they will tell you where to go and get it. Have you checked so and so place? I heard they used to have a lot of news. Why didn't the person go there themselves or contact the person? You understand? So at the end of the day, they push you, and you pay for those nails thinking, oh, I'm going to make a difference on it. I'm going to earn 100 naira on each piece of nail. So you're happy to buy, let's say, 40 cartons of a nail type that doesn't really move in the market. The moment you buy it, the person that has been asking to buy it from you, the person blocks you everywhere, because they were working together from the beginning. So let's go back to our warning signs for real estate businesses. That was a diversion. So immediate reselling of properties. I buy, I sell. Remember, we are trying to cover something up. We are trying to clean something. So of course, like we wash plates round and round and round in the bowl, that's how they go about the money laundering until they are secure that they have integrated the money. So
Please, can I just chip in? Can I chip
please.
in a bit, particularly with this real estate? So what the developers I work with do now is that when you're filling the form, when you're buying, they have a know your customer section. And I think it's required by the government. So whatever you are buying now, they still have to pass it through, because I know that Nigeria has a money laundering problem. However, I think the government is doing something about it. So it's not business as usual. And when my madam is done, I'll also share about Startup Corner, about Tent Makers Online Reloaded, and how that actually came back to impact us as well. Thank you. Please carry on, madam.
Thank you very much. We'll look forward to that. So payments in cash or complex funding arrangements, there are warning signs. Then involvement of family members in the sales or shell companies, companies that exist only on paper, but they have humongous capital base. Those are warning signs for real estate businesses to know. And before I move away from real estate, I really feel like I should point out, you see, when you see our female actresses launching serious buildings, the only thing I just comment there when I see such things online, people are saying, wow, she's really good at, maybe she sells bags, she sells this, and she's launching a house in Lekki, abeg. Nah. So the only thing I just think in my mind is learn to recognize the signs of money laundering. A lot of these people are actually used by politicians. A lot of them are used by those in ministries who are, privy to serious money movements and all of that. And all they do is buy it in the name of the actress. They have a way they hold themselves to keep their promises. And of course, just the offer of a highbrow address for, let's say, 5-10 years free, rent free, is enough for anybody to, be tempted to go along with the arrangement. Oh, you mean you have a home in Lekki Phase 1 that you just want to buy in my name, and I'll be living there for the next 10 years until you are ready? Oh, many people will go for it. And that's one of the reasons that the law does not recognize our innocence in these things. So for hospitality business, the way hotels are springing up in every street corner in Lagos, it's serious. It's serious. I'm sure hospitality is a huge headache for our financial crime agencies. I'm sure it's a huge headache. It's vulnerable, it's attractive, and it seems like something innocent. People don't really look at it. They don't see hospitality as a money intensive business, but it is. It's actually intensive, and people who just build, they buy an old bungalow, they just refurbish. Before you know it, they are running hotels, they are running bars, they are running nightclubs, and you think it's innocent. It's not always innocent. In fact, when the Foundation for Investigative Journalism was running their series on our customs men, one of the things I noticed was that the accused officers, there were some of them that were also accused of owning hotels, big hotels, some, like. So I noticed that, and I said, oh, so it's not just me, it's not just a Lagos thing, it's everywhere and all of that. So it's hospitality business is vulnerable. So when you see high volume of cash transactions, those people, they give that extra soundtrack when they order for some bottles of drinks, and you just don't know. And another reason why it's attractive for them is people know that most of the time, those who drink, those who eat out, of course they'll pay cash. So what you just need to do is have an accountant who has been previously instructed. Every single original real customers, can be made into 5-10 transactions. So if in reality our sales for a week is 2 million naira, what is stopping us from saying our sales was actually 200 million naira? No one is watching. It's our book. It's none of your business. And of course, with the ways we can just get someone to accept to forward money from one place to another, it's a problem. So another issue is unexplained tips or large payments. I need to move fast. I want to be very conscious of our time. So how do you protect yourself and your business? Always verify your clients, verify and understand their business. Thankfully, Denike has told us about the real estate business now ensuring they do KYC. So even if you are paying with Bitcoin, you should be able to tell us how you got there. Be cautious with if the payment methods or amounts do not seem normal. Use official banking channels for receiving and sending money. Keep clear records of all transactions. Let it be straightforward as much as possible. So what to do if you spot these warning signs of money laundering? Ask for more information politely to understand the transaction. Keep detailed records of all transactions and communications. If suspicion remains, report to the right authorities. If you have strong suspicion, at least just keep the information there, so that if anything tries to bounce back to you, you can always refer them to the police station where you left the information. If you can, if you have access, consult your bank or a legal advisor for guidance on what to do if there's any funny transaction someone tried to involve you in. So, workplace safety. Staying safe while we run our businesses. Always stay professional but cautious. Documentation and records are your best protection. Report suspicious activities that will help us to fight crime and to keep our economy safe. Don't be afraid to seek expert advice when needed. Thank you for listening. I am just seeing the messages. I'm sorry. Okay. Yes, hospitality business is easier because it is cash intensive. Yes. So I'm going to hand over to Denike now so that she can take us through the question and answer if there are any questions. Thank you.
Thank you
everyone.
very much, Adebukola. Thank you. Please, if we can give her the round of applause with our reactions, will be really nice. Thank you all. And thank you all for coming. So if you have a question, you can either raise your hand or type it in the chat, or do both. Anyone you want to do. Thanks a lot, Adebukola. We are grateful and we don't take it for granted.
It was a pleasure.
So while we are waiting, if you have questions, let's know. Okay, Modupe, I see your hand. And are you clapping, or are you? Okay, we are still in the clapping mode. Okay, so when we are done clapping and all, please, if you have a question, just raise your hand and I would call you to speak. Or if you can't speak, you can type it in the chat. So I promised you all a story, so I'll share it concerning the Tent Makers Online Reloaded. So when I registered Tent Makers Online Reloaded, I registered it as an online, something about online business. And by the time, okay, yeah, so I'm actually going to talk about Skumul Adelola, and I'm sure Adebukola would follow up. So at the time when I registered, I was the loan consultant, and I went in, I went in there. I see your hand, Omolara, please. I would definitely call you as well. So I went in and, I started the business. It took a while for me to get cleared with Skumul. I got an exemption at the time. And then I went on, I opened the bank account, a Naira bank account, and everything was fine. And then I think like 2 years later, I wanted to open a dollar account because I was like, oh, I'm expecting foreign, what they call them now, customers as well. Let's expand our scope. So I went back to the bank, and the bank said they can't open a foreign account for me. And I was like, why? For what? So they were like, oh, they need my SCOMO certificate. So I was like, when I opened the account, that I got an exemption, that I was not designated as a financial institution. So they told me that I'm going to need to go back to SCOMO, that they had updated their requirements. And now I think every online business is actually required to register. Just to highlight to you that they are not static as well, it's also important to go back and check. So when I went back to SCOMO the second time, they then told me that because what I was offering was more or less related to giving financial advice and all that, because I don't have a degree, as Adebukola introduced me at the beginning as an engineer, that I don't have a degree in that field. So one of two things was either that I go get the degree, or I bring in partners who already have the degree. And that's kind of like part of the story as to how we went from 1 to 6, because I had to look for people with other backgrounds. And for those that don't know, the 6 are myself, Adebukola, Omolara, there's Kike, there's Chinaza, who is a lawyer, and then there's Mary, who's an accountant. Omolara has a business degree as well. I don't know if Adebukola has a business degree or not, but I just thought since I was bringing in other people, we may just as well make it a good mix. And that's how we became 6 from 1. But so it actually was initiated by a SCOMO requirement. So they are doing the best they can. Well, I don't know if it's the best they can, but they are doing something. So Adelola, I'm going to give you the floor now for you to ask your questions, what exactly your questions about SCOMO were, so that we'll see if we can take them. Adelola, can you speak?
So I just wanted to say about, I rented an NGO and I've taken an account and said I get FOMO. I've been trying to get FOMO. Somehow I'm constantly rejected because there's always something wrong. And then I'll have to take a long time before I finally rectify it. So
Okay.
right now I found one of my uncles recently said to me that, but I told him, but he's like, why are you not using the corporate account as a PC? So that I send you everything else. I was asking if you had talked about it because it's not like I
Okay.
understand exactly why I need the FOMO. I just know that it's a requirement for opening the bank account. That's why I know that
Yes.
as well. That's why I asked if you had mentioned it so that I can understand even the import of it.
Okay, the import of SCOMO and why we have I'm going to let Adebukola answer eventually. So Adebukola, do you want us to take all the questions and then you answer at once, or do you want to answer as each person asks their question?
I actually didn't hear the microphone.
Okay, let me repeat her question. So she said that she registered an NGO and she's trying to open a bank account. The reason why I know that her question is that she and I, we've had the conversation consistently, so I know the question. So she was trying, so she has registered the NGO and she's now trying to open a bank account, but she's getting, like, she's hitting a brick wall with SCOMO. It's like she's having issues. So she even wants to understand why is SCOMO even important in getting a bank account? What's their business, long and
Okay,
short?
so you know how I said hospitality business is hugely vulnerable to money laundering? I don't know how I forgot NGOs. It's worse. Not only do people collect money and they never do what they said they would do, people actually open NGOs solely for money laundering. You know, like my friends have Yahoo business. I am not doing that. I will just bring up an NGO and be helping them pass the money through. So they all of a sudden they are donors. They do give away. They give noodles to this place, they give noodles to that place. You know, before you know it, in a few years, nobody is asking them, where are you getting all these money, all these funds from? If they really want to even layer it, they will do what, let me not mention it, they will start asking for funds online. So imagine me asking for funds online, then going on the streets and sending money via POS all around. And then all of a sudden someone sends in huge money. I go online, I greet the person, thank you so much, all our donors. In fact, one person will send in $100,000. Everybody will clap. Meanwhile, that was the point all along. So NGOs are abused in so many ways, So in fact, I will just beg you, be patient with the process. It's just the same way we need to be patient with other countries when they look at our passports and there's no atom of respect in their attitude. We just have to be patient because there's a reason those things are happening.
Okay. I always have stories. Thank you, Adebukola. And maybe to answer Adelola's question, I'll also share a story. When I came up with this idea of doing this online thing, I wanted it to be like a cooperative where people, or an investment club, where people would just bring their money and, invest and go, and then we pay ourselves at the end of the month. And then I got a lawyer and I shared with her what I wanted to do. And she was like, you know what? She didn't actually even tell me, but she went ahead and registered as under Part C, I think, of the CAC, which was an NGO. So it was registered as an NGO. And then so I got like 7 other people or 6 other people involved. So we were like 8 that came together. We did all, so she didn't tell us that she was registering us as an NGO. So when we got to the point where we were asking her that, so how are we going to get paid when we invest? So she was saying that, so what we are going to do is that we will then say that all 8 of us are employees of the NGO. And that, so whenever the money comes, then we all just share the money and go. And I was like, you didn't tell me any of these things now. As in, I'm just learning this now after you've gone ahead with the registration. So she was like, oh, that's what many people do now. That is not a big deal. Thankfully, the other 6 people were people with integrity like me. So everyone else was like, we are not comfortable with this thing now. We don't want to go ahead. And so we had to leave that registration for her and just basically not go forward with it because, and she mentioned the names of some popular NGOs per se, that she was like, oh, this person, you know her, that's what they do now. That's how they share the money. So that's why it's important. This Kumu thing is important because they need to be sure that you are not setting up NGO just for the purpose of moving money around rather than achieving the aim. So I hope we've answered your question. So I'll go to Modupe. And also, Adelola, if we can talk more about the school if you still need a bit more. I think there's someone that may be able to give you a bit more guidance if you want. If you want to, we can talk more about it as well. Modupe, please go on, Ma.
I think I've been able to understand. I was just going to ask what we need to do in cases where we have such events where we can never tell with these people. We might be doing small, but someday we can have, because my boss does not we could have that transaction and then he will say, okay, maybe when they ask for a refund, okay, he will just transfer back to this person. So what I usually do currently is ask the customer rep and the person confirming the payment to always check details, name of sender, the date. Actually, I didn't even think of it from money laundering aspect. I was thinking from fake bank alerts. We check name, we check the amount, we check the date, and then the bank it came from and the bank it came into. So I want to clarify, if we have such situation and the customer is asking for a refund, do we have to ask the customer to send the same bank account they use in transferring to us, or they could send any bank, excuse me, any bank account to do the refund?
They can
Okay,
send
thank you.
any
I guess you're
bank
done with your
account, but I
question.
think it's always
Okay.
good to flag it. It's always good to flag it, and of course, um, when you are refunding, you could just note it, especially if the amount is so much. You just
Okay.
note it, record it in your own. I'm sure the office has a way of putting down records where you can also take a note of that particular transaction, even if it's just a star, to put it there
Okay.
for future.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I would just also like to add to that. There are some businesses I know that when you ask for a refund, they won't tell you that they won't refund you, but they will tell you that they are going to pay back to the account that you used to pay. And I remember when I was going to study in the UK, I paid my acceptance fee. And it was a friend that helped me pay because I was having challenges paying through the regular system. So he actually paid with his wife's account, but we didn't remember where he paid to. So when I went back to the school and I told them that I wasn't going again, they graciously decided to give me 50% of my money back. But they told me that they are going to pay back to the account through which I paid. And of course, it was not my account. So no, it didn't matter what my long story. It did not matter what the issue was. They told me that they would pay. So then I remember that it was my friend that helped me pay. So when I spoke with him, he was like, that actually, that he has checked all his bank statements because he still didn't remember that it was his wife's account he used. So he was like, that he has checked everywhere, that he hasn't seen the money. So I don't know what he said he and his wife were talking about. So he now said that his wife mentioned that one money came into her account and she wasn't sure where it came from. So he was like, oh, that's when he connected the pieces that, oh, that's true, that it was her account he used. And that's what they paid the money back into. It didn't matter what was happening in my life. If you like, let your building fall down. Let life be lifing. They paid to the account. So it's something you can consider as a business as well, that but we are not saying we will not refund you. But it's that account you used to pay us that we will pay you back. And then you still make a note of it. Just something to think about. Omolara?
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening,
Mama.
I want to thank Adebukola for a very concise class. I was driving all through, but I was able to understand and follow very well. Okay, so my first question, it's similar to the one that has been asked, but I'm not still clear about it. It's this matter of refunding to the same account that paid you, right? So I've observed that, in fact, I will check my bank statement now and see, because some payments don't even come carrying the account number that they're paying from, right? So right now I have access to my POS account, and I'm even, in fact, yesterday my staff made some sales, and I came back, I was like, oh, you didn't even get the name of the customer. Let me check the payment. They paid with the POS, but no name, no anything. So even no bank details. There's a way they just code everything. All you can see is that it's a Verve card, it's domestic, and then some numbers and asterisks. So if someone like that asks for a refund, how do I know? In fact, I've never even checked, but with this information now, I'll be like, okay, let me try and see where they paid from before I refund them. But some, they don't even show at all. And I've observed that then, like, I'm even trying to like identify who is this person. I can't. So what do you do in cases like that? And then my second question is, so let's say you observe a suspicious transaction like that. Is there any designated authority that you report such to, instead of well, maybe she mentioned it, but I didn't catch on. Like, who is this designated authority that we should raise such with? Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to answer the second question first. The easiest thing for a business owner is to just make a police report. Like, I observed this and I would just like to state what is happening, formally document it in case it escalates. My brother-in-law does that a lot, because he takes contracts from the government and he also brings in cars for sale. So he has seen it all. In fact, there was a day that my sister-in-law, his wife, called him. She was in Lagos and she was to stay over in Lagos, and they live in Ibadan. She called him and said, I'm not feeling fine. I bought, like Denike said, she was arguing with her brother for buying medicine in one funny place. So she said, I bought this and that, and I'm going to take it before bed. And while on video, she actually took the medicine. They were still chatting while she was eating and taking the medicine. And unfortunately, around 3 a.m., she called to say she has been in pains, tummy pain, she doesn't know she's bleeding and all of that, once it's 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., they are going to try to get to a hospital. So of course, he also started preparing to leave Ibadan for Lagos. But guess what? Despite the emergency, this man is so used to just forward reporting himself that he still went to the police station first and made a report of what transacted. Like, his wife said she bought medicine somewhere, this and that, I'm on my way to Lagos now to know what is happening. Some people have cracked that code and they don't mind all the regbe that they might experience in any station. They will go to their nearest police station and report. Another thing you can do, I'm sure you know your bank account officer. You can just say, oh, I observed this. What do you think? As a banking professional, they get training from time to time on all these issues. So the person might be able to also discreetly, look around in your account and be sure that everything is fine. A reason why some POS don't show information is because fraudsters also use information gotten from POS, gotten from cards. They use it to defraud people. They use those information to carry out raids on other people's bank accounts. We've heard of how someone will call you and tell you your account number and say they are from your bank. This particular account number that you have, that is this. Sometimes they tell you your ATM number and ask you to tell them the rest for one reason or the other. So that's why the best thing to do is, if there's strong suspicion and the amount is huge enough, is in millions, please do a report.
Okay, thank you very much, Adebukola. I'm also
Thank
going
you.
to, I'll try to answer question 1 again, to add my 2 pence to question 1. So the POS, as much as possible, I know that you may not be able to get in just looking at your POS details, but I think if you ask in your bank, particularly if it's something, before you do the refund, you can make it part of your policy, something to consider. Because I don't just come, oh, I want a refund, and they get the refund. You let them know that you are doing some checks that you will pay back to the account they used to pay. And I believe you should be able to get that from the bank, from your bank, because they would definitely have had to there would have been some bank-to-bank interaction before, when the POS, although yes, all you're saying is just a transaction. I think if you can get the transaction details, share with your account officer, let them know that you want to make a refund and you would like to refund to the bank that from which it was paid. I believe the bank should be able to help you.
Okay, that also reminds me, I think you may also want to make sure your receipts officially has space to ask some specific questions. Like Denike
Good.
told us about the real estate business now doing KYC. I think it's wise to consider having your receipts also specifically asking for your phone number, for your address, your name, basic things. In the process of issuing the receipts, of course, in double, what's that thing called, where it's
Double
it's
encoded.
you have a copy.
No, continue, please.
Yeah, so you have a
Continue
copy
what you were saying.
with you, even as you give the customer their copy. I think it's worth it.
Thank you. And to thank everybody that showed up for this session.
Modupe's hand is still up.
Modupe, do you have any more question, or is he an old hand? Or is he an old hand? Yes, my English is correct. Yes, she has dropped it.
Okay.
Don't worry, I know, I've hacked Modupe. I know Modupe. I've hacked her. So, to thank everyone that has shown up for today's session. We are sharing, thanks to Adebukola. Adebukola gave us this Canva link for the Independence promo. So you can use it for your Independence promo. I'm also going to share to you on WhatsApp individually, only the people that showed up for the meeting. Anyone that did not show up, that is watching the recording, you will have to send a message and explain to us why you were not present. Then you will get it if we approve. So I'd like to say thank you. Does anyone else have anything they would like to say before we end the session? Anyone else? And on behalf of Omolara, I would say that we have moved from small businesses. We are removing the small in our small businesses. We have now become, we love businesses, whether they are small or big. So
Hallelujah.
we know we are startup corner, but we know we will not remain startups forever. Amolara reminded us a few trainings ago. And in the absence of anything else, I'd like to invite Omolara Sani to give some closing remarks and end the session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Denike, for putting this together, and
Welcome.
for everyone that showed up. It's been very enlightening and informative, and I trust that going on, we're going to be doing business better. We're going to be watching our backs, and we will not, we will not become part of that statistic, of business owners that fall into fraudulent transactions and money laundering in particular. So it's been a very enlightening session. And once again, I thank everyone.
Thank you.
And I wish us all more growth and successes in our various endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Omolara. Thank you, Adebukola. Thank you, Modupe. Thank you, Shitu. Thank you, Adelola. We are so glad to have you. And we look forward to having you next month again. We hope that you would also invite other people. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you
I'll
so much,
stop
everyone.
recording. Thank you.